And if I did this right, we should be live.
All right.
Yep. Yep, we're live. Awesome. All right. Hello everyone. This is EB. I'm doing a little bit of a podcast, and I'm here with a guest. And would you like to?
How you doing?
Would you
Alec
like
Eldridge,
to?
Side Quest Gamer here, soon to be the side questing gentleman of SQG Productions. Yeah, rebranding and all that. That's fun.
Yeah, for
How
my.
you doing today? Earth Smash Studios / EB Productions.
I'm doing pretty good.
That's great. What are we here to talk about?
Today, so the reason why the both of us are here today is because we are both big fans of Coldplay and The Killers, and we thought it'd
Thank
be
God. I thought this was like an intervention for my drinking problem.
well. I guess now it's time to pull the rug out from under you.
Oh no.
But in all seriousness, we thought it'd be fun to get together and discuss both of those bands.
Yeah. But we'll first start out with Coldplay, as that's
Yeah.
a lot more fresh on my mind
Mm-hmm.
than The Killers. It's also my preferred band, but I also really like The Killers.
Yeah. So you said before time like we wanted to talk about like how we got into Coldplay.
Yeah, you go first. Tell me your history with the band.
Okay, so when I was very young, I remember like I would listen to songs like Yellow and Clocks
Mhm.
on the radio, but I was very young at the time, so it's like I listened to it, but I didn't really realize it was Coldplay until years later. And then when I was in middle school, I'd say about seventh grade.
Mhm.
This is kind of embarrassing for me to admit, but I discovered a fairly popular Minecraft parody of Viva La Vida.
Oh my god, Fallen Kingdom, right?
Yeah. And then after that, I kind of like I decided to listen to the original song, and that's after that I was exposed to a few more Coldplay songs over the years. Like I rediscovered Yellow and Clocks. Listened to Paradise and Fixed You. And then
Oh,
when I got into high school, I kind of decided that I wanted to listen to some new music, and I decided, well, I listened to a bit of Coldplay, and I like a bit of the stuff they make, so why not listen to their stuff? So I went in chronological order. I started with Parachutes all the way to their most recent Head Full of Dreams, which was the most recent at the time, and that's how I kind of got into it.
yeah. Well, as for me personally, I had a similar story with you. I heard Clocks, like the instrumental of it, like the piano on like car commercials. I was like, oh, that's a nice melody. Then it was like overplayed because car commercials always show up constantly playing on and on and on. I didn't know that was Coldplay at the time. It's like my friend was really into it in high school. She like listened to Coldplay, and we had to write biographies on each other and present it in front of the class. I'm like, so that's when I first heard the name Coldplay, but like I didn't actually listen to their stuff until like 2014. I saw like on one of those Tonight shows, like they were performing like Sky Full of Stars, and I wasn't really into them. I was a bit of an edgy teenager, being like, ha, "This is so gay. I'm so cool. I don't listen to Coldplay." Ha, just being fake as hell and just
Yeah.
not being my true self.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was really edgy back then, but I really got into them when, ironically, like early 2019, you posted "Lovers in Japan" on my Discord server. I'm like, hey, this band's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Around the time I was like being a little more honest with myself.
Uh-huh.
So ever since then, that was like my gateway drug.
Yeah.
Although I kind of like preferred their later albums as opposed to their like first 3 albums. I later got into those, but not at the time. So that's roughly my history with it.
Uh, yeah. So now I think that's over with. I think we could like get into the actual like meaty discussion itself. Like,
Oh, I thought the podcast ends here. Oh no, I'm trapped. No, I'm kidding. All right.
so
So, shall we talk about the studio albums?
yes, I made a slideshow presentation for both of them because I'm a nerd. we'll go in order. Let's start with Parachutes.
All right.
Since you're the guest, how about you open up and discuss Parachutes first?
Well, I'm probably gonna like be a very blasphemous little person, but I said before, Parachutes. It's their first album, but it's
Hello? Uh-oh. Hmm. Let me try.
something like that.
You disconnected.
Fuck. All right, where did I leave off?
I think you said that. Last I heard, you said that was your least favorite album.
Yeah, so Parachutes, it's my least favorite album by then. I know it's like blasphemous because like a lot of people love this band, especially the classic Coldplay fans.
Mhm.
It's like there's some stuff I like Shiver and Yellow. You know, that's the best stuff, and I listen to those sometime. It's just like a lot of it feels slower. It just feels like light rock. It's just like not really interesting to me compositionally and especially instrumental. It's like light rock from a bunch of guys who started a band after college or something like that. But
Yeah.
you know, this put them on the map. So I do respect the album, but I don't really like it that much, to be honest. At least not in comparison to their next one and much. Where do you stand on?
Um, I kind of agree. I think I like it a little more than you do. There are some
Yeah.
tracks on here that I do really like. Don't Panic, Shiver, Yellow, Trouble. I really appreciate. But
Yeah,
overall,
Trouble was. I like the music video for.
yeah. But overall, I think like it does kind of feel like they haven't yet figured out what they want to do with their music,
Mm.
and they're still kind of getting their feet wet, if you will.
Yeah.
Um. Overall, I can't remember where I rank it specifically in terms of the rest of the discography. I wouldn't say that's my least favorite, but it is pretty lower.
Just like lower tier for you.
Yeah.
Alright. Makes sense. So let's move on to the real meat and potatoes of their career. A rush of blood to the head. Oh boy.
wait,
This
before-
album, it's like the sequel to an underwhelming first entry.
Yeah. Before we do that, could we talk about like what our favorite songs and least favorite song and most underrated song from the previous album was, real quick?
Oh, sure, like Yellow, followed by Shiver, then Don't Panic, and Trouble. And like the rest of them I just couldn't care less. So like they kind of rank equally for me after. That's about it. Very basic ranking, but yeah, I think I better verse on other albums in their discography.
Yeah. As for my favorite from this album, it's a little cliche, but I have to say Yellow. It's kind of one of the ones that I remember the most listening to as a kid, like I said earlier. As for least favorite, again, I have to say, like, kind of go with your answer, like everything else kind of just meh to me. But I'd consider Trouble to be the most underrated.
Definitely.
So, with that said, let's move on to the second album, A Rush of Blood to the Head.
Oh boy. This album is dope. Unlike Hebe, it's like his favorite album, but it's like it's one of my mid-tier ranking albums. Like definitely, I have like it's really grown on me, especially around this year. But it's like I don't know. It feels like definitely it's a step in the right direction for them, where they're a little more compositionally varied and interesting. Like Clock's great piano composition. It's just like lyrics are metaphorically confusing, but very interesting nonetheless to deconstruct. Like the Scientist, very sad, melancholy piano dominant thing. I like a lot of stuff that has piano in it. It's a common theme with like my taste in Coldplay, but it's just like but then there's some other stuff like Warning Sign. Like I like this one a lot more than like Clocks, to be honest. Yeah, and I really like Clocks. So not Clocks, the Scientist. I definitely like Warning Sign more than Scientist, but not as much as Clocks. I'm getting a little bit rambly, but it's no piano whatsoever, just like violins or string instruments, and it's just like electric guitar. But like I think it has the best lyrics out of all the songs in Rush of Blood to the Head, if I'm being honest. I also really like In My Place quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
It's very light rock, but light rock I'm actually interested in pretty much.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other like fan favorites like Rush of Blood to the Head, Amsterdam, Politic, which I'm not really as huge on as other fans, but like in fan groups, I commonly see them placed high as like one of the more underrated tracks in their discography. Mm-hmm. So it must have made an impact.
Yeah, as you said, like this is my favorite album by the band. Like it is. It's kind of hard for me to put into words what I love so much about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of great material on this record. You talked about like Politic is a good opener. In My Place I do like, but part of me has actually kind of grown a little bit sick of it because I learned how to play it on guitar.
Oh.
And like I had to do it over and over again, up to the point it's like I almost can't listen to it anymore.
I can understand that perfectly.
God Put a Smile Upon Your Face. I really like that one. I wouldn't say
that's one of their more underrated tracks, if I'm being honest.
It's kind of an outlier because this album is so piano heavy, but God Put a Smile Upon Your Face is more acoustic based.
Yeah, definitely.
That's like the contrast between Parachutes and this album. Parachutes was more acoustic focused, where Rush of Blood is more piano focused.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got The Scientist. Excuse me. Like you said, very melancholy track. Clocks is... Ooh. I could gush for hours about how much I love Clocks. That's one of my favorite songs.
It feels like it takes some inspiration from, like, I don't know, classical composers, trying to outdo them in their own game somewhat.
Yeah, apparently they were inspired by Muse when they were writing the piano riff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. It's like, I didn't know Muse even existed back then.
Yeah, I think they started in the late 90s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's like, I've only heard a few tracks from Muse, but a lot of my friends like that Trav guy. He's really into them.
Yeah, what else is on here? Daylight, Green Eyes, Warning Sign. I'm not too crazy about the songs, but I do think that they're still pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
Rush of Blood and Amsterdam are quite possibly the most underrated from this album, and two more of my favorites.
Yeah.
They referenced the Manhattan Project in Rush of Blood to the Head.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't.
I did not. It's like in reference to Oppenheimer or like Einstein or.
I think the lyrics. I can't remember the lyrics specifically. Let me pull them up on my phone.
Okay.
For a bit. Keep the audience entertained while I look.
All right. Shoot. How do I keep them entertained? What's up with The Scientist? What's he referring to that by saying no? Nobody said it was easy. Is he talking about Dark Souls? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I think when he says like.
Oh yeah. Oh jeez. So, common question. question. What is your favorite track from A Rush of Blood to the Head? Let me know, or let EB know in the comments section below.
Oh, I found it.
Alright.
So the lyric is, stand here beside me, baby, watch the orange glow. Some will laugh, some just sit and cry, but you just sit down there and you wonder why. And apparently that's a quote from someone who worked on the Manhattan Project. I don't know who it was specifically, I can't remember. But
Oh my god, that's deep.
But that is basically paraphrasing like what he said about the bomb. Like apparently is like he said like, some people laughed, some people cried, some just stood there and wondered why.
Yeah, it's like the ones who are like, I'm guessing the military people are laughing because now they have like a leg up in the arms race and can finally win World War II, while the scientists are just like horrified that their creations costing millions of civilian lives.
Yeah. Like that is like talking about that as a rabbit hole that we probably shouldn't go down.
Yeah. But that's the thing about Coldplay. They always they always imply things that make you think about the deeper subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really delve into Coldplay without going into philosophy and even politics at times.
Yeah. But overall, where would you rank Rush of Blood to the Head? Hold on. Can you still hear me?
Sorry, you kind of cut out for a minute. To make your conclusionary statement?
Well, I was asking you where you rank it with the rest of their albums.
Okay, alright, with Parachutes being my least favorite, A Rush of Blood to the Head would most likely be, like, ranked higher than a Head Full of Dreams and Ghost Stories,
Mm-hmm.
but, like, lower than X and Y, Viva La Vida, Milo Xyloto, and Everyday Life.
Oh, well, like
I told you this would be a blasphemous kind of opinion.
Yeah, well, like I said, this is my favorite album.
Yeah.
As for my favorite song, it'd have to go with Clocks. It's also my favorite Coldplay song.
I can understand that. It's definitely in my top 5 somewhere.
It's also one of my favorite songs of all time, period. What is your favorite song from the album?
Clocks. I'm very basic. I like good piano composition. It's not boring. Even though the lyrics are very metaphorical beyond my understanding, it's just like still interesting. Like shoot an apple off my head. Reference to William Tell. It's just like like confusion that never stops. Closing walls and ticking clocks. It's just like that kind of gives me a sense of isolation. Like my room is filled with clocks and it's a very small room, just like I can understand that during the whole coronavirus pandemic.
Yeah. As for least favorite, I'd probably have to go with A Whisper. As for you?
That's a good question. I'd probably have to go with that as well. Yeah. It's just like the one I remember the least about. I don't remember the composition or lyrics being anything interesting. It just kind of felt like just another song on the album. It's kind of fillerish, but not really.
As for most underrated song, I'd probably have to go with the title track or Amsterdam.
Mine would be Warning Sign.
Yeah. So then, after Rush of Blood, we have X and Y, which, you posted a review of this on your channel for April Fool's.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't know about it until very recently, which was surprising to me.
To be fair, I made it seem like a Pokemon X and Y retrospective. And I kind of tricked people into it at first, but then, they found out it was Coldplay, so they're like, oh, man, so we found out your dirty little secret. You're a Coldplay fan, Psychos Gamer.
I think you like this album a little more than me. Not that I dislike I do
It's
like
by
this.
far my favorite of like the classic Coldplay album trilogy. That like this is like the last one that fans really like older fans liked, and just found that like anything afterwards was a bit of a far cry from their original sound,
Yeah.
which is fine, even though I kind of prefer their later sound. But X and Y is interesting. It goes for more space rocket and it has a bit more variety that kind of calls back to the first two albums for some of their tracks, but like the instruments are more varied, the compositions are more interesting and more complex. It's like, and the lyrics are kind of getting away from that metaphorically confusing concept, conceptually speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But just like I think almost every track on here is pretty damn good, if I'm being honest. Like Square One and What If aren't my favorites. They're probably some of the weaker ones. Like White Shadow is a little more interesting. That's when when the album really starts for me.
Yeah.
It's like Fix You, one of their more, I want to say, overrated tracks. I didn't like it at first, but it's grown on me quite a bit, even if I wouldn't really consider it one of their better tracks on the album. Oh, I mean, probably in my top 5, to be honest, given that there's only 13 tracks on here, but Talk is definitely my favorite one.
Yeah.
I also like X and Y quite a bit. Speed of Sound, that's probably the most overrated one for me personally. It just don't really find the piano track to be that interesting, and like the piano composition and the lyrics are just in one ear and out the other. I think A Message and Swallowed by the Sea are really underrated tracks. I mean, I think A Message was on Smallville at one point, but I didn't watch that show, and like that's like A Message is definitely one of my favorite tracks. I also like The Hardest Part and Supposed to Logic quite a bit. And Till Kingdom Come has been stuck in my head a lot lately. So X and Y has not really disappointed me at all. It's just like it's grown to be like my third favorite album by the band. It's just very consistent. It's more experimental, but I think the experimentation paid off very well. What about you, EB?
I do like this album. I don't think I like it as much as you, but I do like admire like the more synthy sound. But one criticism I have with X and Y is I feel like the track listing is a bit confused.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, I feel like you have White Shadows and Talk. I feel like would have been good following like each other. But on the album,
I can understand that.
On the album, you have Fix You sandwiched between the two of them, and it kind of it feels a bit awkward. But overall, you talked about like White Shadows and Talk. I really like those as well. And Swallowed in the Sea. Wait, did you say Swallowed in the Sea, or am I mistaking it for something else?
I'm sorry, what?
I was saying Swallowed in the Sea. I don't know if I'm mistaking that for something else or not.
It's just like it's like it's a little slower pace, but it's just like it's definitely one like kind of it's very close in quality to like A Message, in my honest opinion. But yeah.
Also,
that's another thing. Some of the songs do sound like one another, and you just have to listen to it to really like go. You're like, oh yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Also, we like Till Kingdom Come. I disagree.
Great acoustic track.
Yeah, I disagree with you on Speed of Sound. That's one of my favorites from this album.
Oh.
Yeah. Like you said in your review, there's a lot of comparisons that people made to clocks.
Yeah, like I guess it's because of like the piano theme. It's just like it deals with a scientific concept, like clocks deals with time, I guess, and Speed of Sound is self-explanatory.
Well, apparently, like
it's like I saw critics make constant comparisons in their initial reviews of it, but I don't think the fan base necessarily does that.
Yeah, I don't think so. Well, apparently, like if you look at the apparently the opening to Speed of Sound is basically the opening to Clocks, but with every other note removed. I don't know if that's true or not.
That's a very interesting comparison, but I doubt it. It's like definitely doesn't sound the same even with every other note. Like I guess it's like a good comparison if you're talking about the pacing of it, but just like
because I know how to play the part from Clocks on piano, and I tried to like remove every other note to see if it sounded like Speed of Sound, and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, you could try that later on, but oh man, that's funny. A bit reductionist, but really funny.
So overall, where would you rank X and Y?
Hmm. Can you hear me?
I didn't catch. If you said something, I didn't hear it.
Oh no, I heard silence. Just did you make the conclusionary statement?
Well, I meant to. I was asking you where you rank it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I would rank it probably as my third favorite studio album. It's like it ranks below like Viva La Vida and Milo Xyloto for me personally, but it could be some days it's probably second place, only losing to Viva La Vida. It depends on the mood I'm in, basically.
Yeah. For me personally, out of all the albums, I don't really return to this that often. Sometimes
Mm,
I will if I'm in the mood for it.
mm.
I can't remember specifically where I ranked it. I think I put it in a Discord message. I'm gonna try to pull that up and see if I can find it. But
I could.
hmm? uh, but overall, I'd say were you trying to say something? There's a bit of silence.
Oh no, I just like came across it. It's like
Yeah.
so you rank it above like Parachutes, Ghost Stories,
Oh.
and Head Full of Dreams.
Oh yeah.
It's like a mid-tier ranking album for you.
Yeah. So I like it, but I don't love it. Um,
Okay,
my
fair
favorite
enough.
song from the album. It's a difficult one to choose because there's a lot of stuff on this one that I do like. I'm tempted to say
Like,
"Speed of Sound."
okay, Talk is definitely my favorite, and the most underrated one for me personally is A Message, mainly because it wasn't released as a single, and everyone else seems to like. It doesn't really get a high view count as an individual track on YouTube, but it seems to have a cult following among the Coldplay fan base. It's
Yeah.
definitely one of those that it's like that'll keep you coming back to the album after you're done listening to like the hit single.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? What's your underrated track for X and Y?
I'd have to go with "The Hardest Part."
Ah, yeah, great one. I like that one.
Okay,
It's like
so
my second favorite song in the.
yeah.
All right, so
Next.
moving on to the album that pretty much made me a devout fan of the
Yeah.
band, Viva
Uh,
La Vida, or Death and All His Friends.
mm-hmm. This
So
is
Death is a he, not a she. That's interesting.
well, maybe it's a entity that is so powerful it doesn't even have a gender.
Yeah, I've always found Death to be rather gender neutral. Although in my dreams, Death is a giant spider wasp, and spider wasps with stingers are females, from my understanding.
That,
Told you I'm spexophobic as all hell.
but the album itself, I think it's safe to say that this was possibly the most experimental album at the time it came out.
Yeah, 2008 was an interesting year. But yeah, Viva La Vida is really something else. It's like it kind of divides the fan base from old Coldplay fans to new ones. And even then, we're kind of like no longer the new ones anymore. We're like the older one. We're like the middle children of the fan base.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of great like Viva La Vida. It is my second favorite album, but I'd imagine like maybe in a few years it might become my number one favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of great material on this. Like I can't think of a single song that's like the weakest link out of all of them. Like they're all pretty solid. Did you catch that?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said that like I feel like every song on Viva La Vida is pretty solid. I can't think of like a weakest one.
Definitely not. I mean, it's like at least with the main like the main album, and it's like Life in Technicolor, it starts out great. It's like begins like the cyclical structure that the album goes for, that you will see revisited in the end, beginning with the Escapist, and then transitions to like the sitar dominant Life in Technicolor. It's a very fun song. I like listening to. It's like and for like the studio album for the Prospects March edition. Yeah. Oh, it's like you can tell the experimentation with like the sitar. Cemeteries of London, Lost, and 42 is just like are not one of my they're not my favorite songs on the album, but that they're pretty darn good, It's just like very solid like experimental rock structure that it just works for me. It's a great way to transition to like the later half that I'm really into. What about you? Where do you stand on the first 4 tracks of it?
The first 4 tracks, if I
Life in Technicolor, Cemeteries of London, Lost, and
Life in Technicolor. I like Life in Technicolor 2 a lot more, personally.
Yeah.
Cemeteries of London is pretty good. I wouldn't call it one of my favorites, but I still appreciate it. Lost, I feel the same way. 42, I'd probably say is probably the most underrated track from this album.
Definitely, I'd say so.
It's very experimental.
42. I don't know. It's probably my least favorite one, but even then, it's just like being the least favorite on Viva La Vida is still a very high honor because like even the least favorites are pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Actually, it might be my second least favorite one. But like it's a bit complicated because like yes, even though it has it's a favorite among the fan base, but it's just like I don't know, it just sounds very Western, kind of meandering. Just like I don't really care for like the instrumentation of Yes. It's I don't know. It just feels like it's very a little unpleasant to listen to at first. It grows on you and like after a while, but I don't know. I prefer the hidden track to be honest. Even though that's a little simple, I don't know. I kind of like shoegaze style that they went for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think. Like for Yes, like Chris is singing a lot lower than he usually does.
Yeah, it's just even though some people don't really like it when he sings in higher octaves, I prefer when he does that, and just like goes high and low sometimes.
Yeah. I don't really have issue with him going higher.
Yeah,
like he's no Matt Bellamy, but he still does a fine job.
Yeah, definitely. Where do you stand on Chinese Sleep Chant, the hidden track of Yes? Do you like it worse or better? Because some people like whenever they listen to that, they'd rather skip to that, or they'd rather just like skip it altogether after listening to Yes.
I think I prefer Yes more.
Okay.
I still like Chinese Sleep Chant, but I think I'd have to go with Yes. But after that, we have Viva La Vida, which is
Viva La Vida. I am going to be blasphemous as all hell. It's like it is a damn great track, but it's not one of my favorites by them. It used to be, but it's just like I think it's a little overplayed at times.
Yeah.
And plus, I just think compositionally speaking, even though it has that very good orchestra and amazing lyrics that can be relatable to some people, but just like I don't know. I just think like tracks like Lovers in Japan, I like the like even though the lyrics are very simple, kind of meandering at times, the instrumentation more than makes up for it, and I like the chorus of it. And Violet Hill, my god, great composition, great lyrics, easily my favorite track in the entire album.
Yeah. As for me, I do really like Viva La Vida. Like I said, it's kind of like the song that got me into Coldplay. So there might be a bit of bias there, but that's just how I feel.
Yeah. Strawberry Swing is pretty solid as
hell.
Like really like that. Like how they made the guitar sound in it and like the booming drums of it that sounds like a marching band kind of.
Yeah. Like Strawberry Swing is like weird because like it's the most relaxing song on the album, but it follows like the most aggressive.
I guess it's a fizzle down kind of track, just like end things off on a higher note.
Yeah.
It's like Death and All His Friends is like probably the most underrated track in the entire album.
Yeah, that's a good closing piece of music.
I love the piano. I love the progression of it. It's like, it's especially like and like The Escapist is such a great point to end on, and it kind of makes the album cyclical because now you can restart the album and it'll just transition perfectly to the first track.
Yeah, it's like The Escapist is like one of those songs where I listen to it, I get chills.
I know. It's like, it's a peaceful form of death, I guess. Where after you die, flowers grow around you, grow on top of you, and just like the clouds are just moving in fast motion. That's why, at least what I visualize.
All right.
Now, how do you feel about the Prospects March edition? I personally like it quite a bit. I think it makes one of the best albums I've ever listened to even better, but it does have more duds than, say, without it, pretty much.
Yeah, Prospects March, it has Life at Technicolor 2, which is one of my favorite Coldplay songs. And I think I said earlier that I like it a little more than Life at Technicolor. Apparently, Life at Technicolor 2 was originally supposed to go on the original album. Like, it was just Life at Technicolor, but they decided to split it up into 2 parts.
Yeah.
Personally, I wish that the full version would have made it onto the official album because I love that song. I think Prospects March also has, what is it, Glass of Water, which I really enjoy.
Was the Postcards from Far Away, which is just a short little like piano melody that's really good. I wish it was longer and a full-fledged song.
I don't really remember that. Life at Technicolor 2 and Glass of Water is like the only thing from the EP that stand out to me.
Yeah, then there was like, was it Lost Plus featuring Jay-Z, which it's like they started to go collaboration heavy, but every time they collaborated, it just didn't really work out for me in terms of sound, It's like the person they collaborate with, it just didn't really add much to their sound, sometimes even detracted from it.
I like the acoustic piano version of Lost.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. But I think if that's all we have to say, like, where would we rank Viva La Vida?
Viva La Vida, definitely my favorite album by them, easily. Not even really a competition. It's like from a more varied kind of instrumentation. Each track kind of has their own identity, save for a select few. It's just like the experimentation really paid off, and this is like when they were at their peak, easily.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own little special moment, It's not just the Chris Martin band where you only remember Chris Martin's voice and occasionally Johnny's guitar. Everybody, Will Champion especially. Like, this is probably the height of his drumming career, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, so Viva La Vida is my second favorite, but it may become my number 1 favorite in some time.
I guess it depends on your mood.
Yeah. As for our favorite songs from the album, mine would have to go with Viva La Vida, which I know is kind of like the obvious answer, but that is the song that kind of started it all, so I kind of have to.
Yeah.
What about you?
Favorite song is Violet Hill, followed by Death and All His Friends / Escapist, followed by Lovers in Japan, followed by Strawberry Swing, followed by Viva La Vida. And it's like then Life in Technicolor, just like Lost, Cemeteries of London, with my least favorites being 42 and Yes, depending on which I'd rather listen to, depending on the mood I'm in. That's about it, really. And if we're going off Prospects March, it's like the first half is the best, but like the remaining 3 tracks don't really do much for me.
Yeah. You talked about your least favorite. I think my least favorite probably have to be Chinese Sleep Chant. Not that I dislike it, but it's like it kind of is like, whatever.
Some people don't really like the echoey distortion of like shoegaze music, which is perfectly fine. It kind of sounds like somebody's doing some cocaine and just like red strobe lights and shit are just going around while everything's moving with motion blur on.
Okay, so as for most underrated song, I have to go with 42. I think I like 42 much more than you do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. One of my favorite lyrics comes from that song. It's like, "You thought you might be a ghost. You didn't get to heaven, but you made it close." I love that lyric. It's so good.
Wow, that sounds very close. That sounds like a precursor to their ghost stories material.
Yeah. Um. Uh. I don't. Would you say is the most underrated from Viva La Vida?
Oh, Violet Hill. It's hard to say it's underrated because the video is highly viewed on like YouTube, and everybody points that out as one of their favorites. One of my friends, TGX Game Reviews, he's not really a Coldplay fan. He's a full-on metalhead, but he says he really likes Violet Hill. So
Yeah.
that should tell you something if it connects like non-fans with fans, pretty much.
Yeah.
But
So.
underrated, it's hard to say. Love vs Japan is hard to say it's underrated because like a lot of these have like their own Wikipedia articles. So I'm gonna say Death and All His Friends because it's probably the least talked about.
Yeah.
It's a closer track too, so I don't think it was released as a single.
Yeah. So after Viva La Vida, we got. Oh, I forgot to put that on my slide. But
Milo Xyloto.
yeah, Milo Xyloto. I'll just pull it up on Google Images.
Oh my god. Alright.
Dang it, Evie.
Milo Xyloto. This is a very controversial album. A lot of people call this the point where they just abandoned Coldplay altogether as they went for more like of a pop sound to it with some synthesizer instruments and being like dominating some tracks and some, not to mention there's some throwaway tracks here and there, but honestly, and some people also find the whole rock opera concept of it a little pretentious and just, but I don't know if I necessarily agree with everything about that. I don't know. I thought Milo Xyloto was like, it was like another album that really got me into the band. I like the beginning track. I don't really like the vocoder voice of Hurts Like Heaven, but I like the instrumentation stuff. It's like, the lyrics are a bit in one ear and out the other, but I don't know, I just like the electronic sound to it kind of works in its favor. Paradise and Charlie Brown are freaking amazing, especially Charlie Brown, which is like one of my favorite tracks of all time.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it kind of goes back to a little more experimental rock sound, you know, with even some like electronic, like electric guitar stuff here and there. It's just like, you know, and the lyrics are, you can just interpret them any way you would.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Where do you stand on the first four tracks? Like a lot of these are the ones that like made it as singles.
Yeah, Milo Xyloto is kind of like in one ear out the other for me. Hurts Like Heaven, Paradise, and Charlie Brown, like those are three of my favorites. I adore those tracks to death, and they're great.
I think Paradise kind of like that was my favorite song by them when I first listened to it, but it kind of fizzled out over every re-listen. It's a good song, but it's just like, oh, Charlie Brown is like timeless, you know? It really grows on you. It's like
Paradise used to be my favorite from this album, but like Charlie Brown has easily like took that place.
Like Charlie Brown captures like the high school age perfectly, you know, just hanging out with friends doing whatever.
Yeah, I love
it. Doesn't really. I find it weird. It doesn't mention like any of like the actual character it was based up, like the song named itself after. Yeah, and again, a lot of bands do that. Like,
apparently they were going to do that originally, but they cut those lyrics out at the last minute.
I think it should have been called Cartoon Heart because they actually left that lyric in there. You know.
Well, apparently, like the piano bit at the end is meant to be a homage to the Peanuts. It does kind of like sound like something from the Peanuts cartoon, but with like a Coldplay twist to it.
Easily, yeah. I love that ending. You know, that ending's such a perfect transition from it's like from the ending. You know, we're all glowing in the dark. It's just like a very happy way to end off that single.
It's a very dancey song.
Yeah.
Then
now, like Us Against the World, I'm just like I like that one quite a bit, but MMIX is just I don't remember at all. It's just like that's probably my least favorite track on the. Actually, no, that's my second least favorite track on that. Princess of China is probably my least favorite one because of the collaboration. Like it was way too pop centric. It's definitely way out of their original sound. It's just like I kind of despise what that song stands for in the career, to be honest.
Yeah. Um, Personally, I really like Us Against the World.
Hmm.
MMIX, I can't remember either. Every Teardrop is a Waterfall is another one of my favorites.
Oh my god, that's like one of my favorites on the album.
Yeah.
Probably my third favorite, to be honest.
Yeah. What else is there? You talked about Princess of China. I think I like it a little more than you do, although I think it does kind of stick out like a sore thumb.
Yep.
Uh,
Why would you collaborate with Stardust? I mean, I know she has her fans and all that, but I don't know. The voice just like really irritates me. It's auto-tune is all hell, you know.
um, what else is there? They have Major
Up in
Minus, which I really like.
Oh yeah, it's like I didn't really like it at first, but I just like the strumming of the guitar. It's very aggressive, and the electric guitar is like one of Johnny Buckland's better guitar riffs.
Yeah. Like apparently they wanted this album to originally be a lot more acoustic, and Major Minus is like one of the very few surviving pieces of that original plan.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Up in Flames is like kind of a fillerish tracks, but it kind of works better as like an introductory piece to what comes after.
Yeah. Don't Let It Break Your Heart is lots of fun.
Oh, that's like my fourth favorite one. It's like that, and Up with the Birds is just like it's just a great way to end off the album on. I know it's supposed to be like a conclusion to the story of Milo Xyloto, their little rock opera. They kind of like told throughout like this entire album. I don't really like this album for the rock opera. I actually find it just to be kind of like I don't know. I just don't really think anything of it. Where it's like a rebellion against an evil alien government that wants to ban color and sound. It's like really,
Yeah.
really. Okay, it's like very basic Revolution 101 kind of storytelling, I'm not really attached to the character at all. It's like,
Yeah.
I just don't really think anything of it, but but for the sum of its parts, Milo Xyloto is a great album. It does have a few duds in its like track list, but I think like it's consistent for the most part.
Yeah.
Even if it has a few ones I don't like.
Yeah, I feel like Milo Xyloto, I would describe it as a very colorful album.
I see what you did there. Color.
And I don't just say that because of like the graffiti aesthetic. I feel like if you listen to the music, like it does sound colorful, which may sound weird, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah. It's like even though they went for more electronic kind of sound to it, like other than just trying to electronize or like make the voice a little electronic for like tracks like Hurts Like Heaven, it works for the most part. I'll be honest.
Yeah. Like I feel like even if you don't know like the whole like story the album is trying to tell, it still works on its own. So overall, I would probably rank it. Let me see. I think it's my third favorite album according to this ranking that I have.
All right, that's good. That's great. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to be burned at like probably going to be excommunicated from the Church of Chris Martin for saying that.
Yeah. My favorite from this album is easily Charlie Brown.
Yep, mine too. Least favorite, I'll probably like say Princess of China for like very subjective reasons.
Yeah, I'd probably have to go with like probably UFO or MMIX for that because I just kind of by default because I can't really remember them.
Well, they're both like was it acronyms or abbreviations? I think acronyms is a more accurate term to describe them. The acronym tracks are the worst ones, I guess. They're definitely in my bottom three.
As for most underrated, they probably have to go with Us Against the World.
Oh yeah, I'd probably say "Don't Let It Break Your Heart" is like the one I'd choose as the most underrated one. Just like a great penultimate track to end off on. Right. Got no complaints there. It's very exciting, It's very optimistic.
Yeah. as for the next album, I remember like you posted a ranking on Discord and you put Ghost Stories pretty low.
Yeah, but to be honest, I think it's a solid 6 out of 10 album now.
Yeah.
It's like it, I've really grown like a little attached to it, even if it does kind of like pretty much does what Princess of China does, except like with a few more tracks, kind of like that. But let's see, I'm trying to find like Ghost Stories the album. Music. Coldplay album. So I can look at the track list.
I have the track list
It's like
memorized.
always in my head. This is like it's very cyclical because it has like the O portion of like the last track kind of like into the beginning of always in my head, but like this like when this like guitar riff comes in and like the lyrics come in, it's a little slower pace, but it's like I don't know, it sounds very classic, like something U2 would do.
Yeah. This is always in my head. Would probably have to be the most underrated on this one, in my opinion.
Easily, yeah, it's probably like my third favorite from this album.
Yeah.
Maybe might be my second, depending on what mood I'm in.
Yeah. It's very haunting yet beautiful at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, it's like especially with conveyed by the choir.
Yes.
Like, feels like afterlife pretty much, which is like a concept that this album kind of explored with like the instrumentation.
Yeah, so then after Always in My Head, I think is Magic, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's like one of those pop rock kind of music. It's like I don't hate it, but I don't really like it either. To be honest, it's just very middle of the road for me. Like especially with the pacing of the lyrics and whatnot. It's just, it just kind of felt like it was made for like those who are into pop music rather than like the traditional or more experimental Coldplay fans, pretty much.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like it was made to be radio friendly, which it was released as a single, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on Magic?
I like it. I wouldn't call it one of my favorites, but I'd probably give it an honorable mention.
It's like middle of the road for me.
Yeah.
It's like Ink. I cannot remember really much about this song, to be honest. I know there's like a music video released for it, but it's just like
I really like Ink. I like the acoustic riff that it has.
yeah. Oh, that's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably one of the better ones. You see, that's the thing. It's like I know the instrumentation, and I've heard all these before, but it's just like I can't remember which one goes where. Pretty much, in my head at least.
Then after Ink is True Love.
Yeah, that one I recall liking a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though that's another one of those radio-friendly pop rock kind of songs.
Yeah, it's kind of like Mad to Me. Then after that, you got Midnight, which
Oh, this one.
it's
very atmospheric, but like the vocoder voice I'm not really big on, but like the instrumentation sounds like something David Wise would come up for like a Donkey Kong Country game. Kind of.
apparently it's an unused instrumentation from I think like another song. I think like
I can't remember it. But it's just like this like really goes further with like the kinds of like the ghost kind of element of this Ghost Stories album.
Yeah, you said you didn't like the distorted vocals, but I feel like I actually really like it. I feel like it creates a unique atmosphere for the song.
Oh, I thought the instrumentation did that. Like, I wouldn't mind if like the voice kind of echoed, but the computerized voice makes me sound like what's his name? What's the name of that Transformer with the tape deck? Is like I can't remember like the name of it, but that's what pretty much Chris Martin sound like in that song.
Could you imagine like if Chris Martin voiced Soundwave?
Soundwave, that's the name. Yep, Soundwave. The vocalist for Midnight.
Like there's like that. It says like there's a part of the song that says "swimming on." Like the crescendo effect that you get with the distortions, like really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the music video was pretty cool too.
Yeah,
it's like
very trippy.
They're in a forest and stuff. They use like that thermal lens, and then they just invert that.
Yeah,
it's like
also like some of the lyrics in the song, like "Leave a light on." I feel like
yes. Love that.
It's kind of a depressing song,
Yeah.
but that's what I like about it.
It's like a lost soul, kind of like crying out for help, pretty much.
Yeah. Um, then after that,
This is like the second half I prefer over the first half, to be honest. Like
yeah,
first half feels like it was meant to be radio friendly, but like the second half is when it really gets going for me personally. With the exception of the eighth track, which that's a good song, but it's like Sky Full of Stars, just pretty self-explanatory. A
yeah,
little overplayed on the radio. It's like, but it was an interesting collaboration with Avicii, I believe his name was.
yeah.
Electronic artist. Some
Um,
say it's a little too electronic and the lyrics are a bit too simple, but I don't know. It just works.
yeah. I think like the album is supposed to represent like a rut in life, and a sky full of stars is like meant to be like you got out of that, and now you could celebrate.
Yeah, that's very good analysis. I like that. I used to think it was a bit out of place, but probably should have started out with that and then kind of declined or something like that. But I can understand that kind of interpretation too. Another's Arms and Oceans. Where do you stand on them? I recall liking Oceans quite a bit, and Another Arms just not really doing anything for me personally.
Those two are my least favorite from the album, personally.
Really?
Yeah, those are the ones that
Even
I return to the least.
ah, makes sense, I guess.
Like the final track, Oh and Fly On. Like Fly On specifically is
hmm
one of my favorites.
Definitely, that's like
Yeah.
the best song to come out of this entire album. It's
Um,
like whether it be for the O portion or the Fly On portion. The O part kind of makes it cyclical.
yeah.
Just being like voices from the afterlife. Just don't ever let me go.
Yeah, it's chilling
Yeah,
in
and it's
a
like
good way.
Fly On, just like kind of being like an acceptance of death and just flying on up with the birds, pretty much
Yeah,
like a bird, hovering above.
yeah,
I just think the chorus of it, it's like, so I've heard,
yeah.
that's great.
So, as for where I would rank this album, let me see if I can.
You go first. You know this album a lot better than I do.
Yeah, I would rank it below X and Y. I think it's
hmm
pretty. I think it's one of the lower ones on my ranking, but I still do like this album. I didn't really appreciate it at first,
Yeah.
but I don't want to get too personal, but something kind of upsetting happened in my life, and after that, I
hmm
revisited the album. Was like, oh, I get it now, and I grew appreciation for it because of
Yeah,
that.
that's what I notice in comment sections of like for O Fly On. It's just like and always in my head. A lot of people talk about a relative that passed away and how like this album really helped them, grieve pretty much,
Yeah.
get them through the grieving process. And that's something I respect about this album. It deals with heavy themes, and this was apparently made during Chris Martin's like separation with Gwyneth Paltrow, who was his
Mhm.
spouse for the longest time. And it's like it like kind of got him through a depression period, pretty much. And I don't know. I think he kind of dealt with these kind of existential themes pretty well.
Mhm.
Even though the radio friendly like pop rock kind of songs take away from that. I wish it was a little more consistent with it, but
Yeah.
I respect the tracks that really hammer it in,
Mhm.
pretty much.
So, as for my favorite track from the song from the album, I'd have to go with "Sky Full of Stars," which I know you may disagree with, but personally, like I can't help it. I really enjoy listening to that one.
Oh, Fly On. It's easy to say that because it's like two tracks for the price of one, but
Yeah,
like either portion could be my favorite. Well, I will say that it's like if you want to listen to Ghost Story, it's like the deluxe edition is the way to go because it has O Reprise as well as Ghost Story, which
yeah,
should have made it in the official studio album.
yeah.
I don't know why they didn't. It
Oh,
was a really nice acoustic piece that actually added to like the themes of dying and just
yeah,
being, it's like when I try to pull you close, you disappear.
yeah.
That stuff.
It's a very
Even
creepy
if it
song.
does have like Chris Martin falsetto, it's sometimes like to the people's dismay. Maybe that's why it wasn't included, but I thought it was great.
Yeah. There's also like I think the EP has "All Your Friends," which I really like.
I need to listen to that one. That's the one I haven't listened to yet.
Yeah, it's kind of a downer, so you may have to be in the right mood for it.
Yeah, it's
But
true.
As for my least favorite from this album, I'd have to go with like Another Arms or Oceans.
Mine might be Magic
Yeah.
because I just don't like pop rock that much.
As for most underrated, I have to go with Always in My Head.
Definitely. I agree with you 100%. Such a great starter track. Might even be one of my favorites in their entire discography. I'm sorry, Life in Technicolor.
All right. The next album, Head Full of Dreams. This is my least favorite.
I'm gonna be honest. This was like a head full of dreams. Like it tried to be it's stuff like they want to go for a more optimistic kind of album after like Ghost Stories, but it's like that also means there's a lot more like pop star collaborations that just kind of really ruins the album for me. It's like if I had to rank it, probably give like a 4 or a low 5 out of 10
Yeah,
for me personally.
it's easily my least favorite album, but I would still say that I do like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't really care for it at first, but it kind of grew on me.
Yeah, I will say this. It's just like the starter track is one of my favorites by them.
Yes.
It's like maybe not in my top 10, but easily in my top 20 tracks. It's just like it's like I love the electric guitar riffs. I like the lyrics. It's like and the music video even had like an excerpt from one of my favorite movies of all time, being The Great Dictator. Like Charlie Chaplin's like speech about and it's just like coming together and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a great message.
Yeah, it's very positive. It's very uplifting. It's like I also like Everglow. It's a very good kind of piano composition, even if it's not one of their better ones,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Uh,
Adventure of a Lifetime I also like. It's a very fun kind of song, but it's just like kind of keeps within the band's like normal sound, It doesn't
Yeah.
feel off-putting at all.
that guitar riff though.
Definitely.
Um,
The album was really weird. Like the music video was really weird, where the CG monkeys are just playing instruments. I like it. It's delightfully weird.
So, the poppy nature of this album, there are some songs which I feel like do make it work, like the title track, Birds, Adventure of a Lifetime, Up and Up.
Yeah.
But then I feel like there's some, like there are other tracks that's kind of like, not so much.
Yeah. It's just like him for the weekend. It's just the lyrics are so simple and just like. And it's like the collaboration with what's her name? I can't remember.
Beyonce.
But it's just like her voice was kind of pleasant, but it's just like, in fact, I'd probably say Chris's vocals are probably the weaker aspect of this song. But I don't know, it just doesn't really do anything for me. It's one of the better poppy tracks on this, but I don't really like this, and I especially don't like what it stands for.
Yeah. Him for the weekend is.
I didn't care for fun, and my god, Army of One and its like hidden track X Marks the Spot is easily the worst song by the band.
Yeah.
I went there. It's I hate it so much.
Him for the Weekend and Army of One are like guilty pleasure tracks of mine.
I can understand the Army of One portion, to be honest.
The X Marks the Spot I just skip. I just listen to Army of One.
I can understand that. I don't even understand why they do these hidden tracks. Is it an artistic statement, or do they feel X Marks the Spot wasn't really good enough to stand on its own?
I think like for Viva La Vida, like Lovers in Japan also has Rain of Love, and I know for that,
yeah,
I know for that
definitely.
specifically, they wanted to like the track listing to have 10 songs, but they also really wanted Rain of Love, so they kind of compromised.
I suppose. No, it's like I don't really have much to say on Amazing Day or Color Spectrum. Where do you stand on those?
Amazing Day, I think is all right. Color Spectrum, I can't remember.
Mm-hmm. Up and Up, it's just like it's one of those weird like pop tracks that just doesn't do anything for me. I know it's a favorite among those who like this album, but it doesn't really do anything for me. I don't know what it's about. It's just like it's just weird for me.
Yeah,
It's a little too weird for me to really form an opinion one way or the other.
Yeah, I really dig Up and Up, and I think I personally think like it's like meant to be like their ultimate optimistic ballad.
Yeah,
like I really like the ending. Like it has like a big climactic ending to it. Did you catch that?
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. But overall, like I said, this is my least favorite Coldplay album.
And it's my second least favorite.
Yeah.
Because there's a like more of a quantity of tracks I want to listen to than like anything Parachutes. I like it a little more, even though I kind of like I have less respect for the album for kind of dare I say selling out the original sound, or even like selling out from being experimental for the right reasons.
Yeah.
It felt like a far cry from what came before, and especially after.
Yeah. My favorite from this track would easily have to be the title track.
I think yeah, either Everglow or Head Full of Dreams. The title track might be my favorite.
Yeah. My least favorite
Uh,
would probably have to be the stuff I don't remember.
yeah, exactly. Like Color Spectrum and Amazing Day. I think Color Spectrum might be it actually.
As for
Actually, no, X Marks the Spot. That's my least favorite of all time. And
Yeah.
as for underrated, I really don't know what's considered underrated in this album.
I probably
Because I only really like the singles, pretty much, like Everglow and A Head Full of Dreams, pretty much.
yeah, I'd probably say like Army of One for most underrated, but then again, like that is a guilty pleasure song, so it's like it's debatable how much that counts.
Yeah, that's true. Underrated is something like not often listened to, just like not enough people rate it at all to really formulate opinion on it. So,
And to finish off with the Coldplay discussion, we have Everyday Life, the most recent album.
this this was a welcome return to form. You know,
Yeah.
we're back to like that experimental, consistent kind of theme for like an album. You know, it's like it felt like an apology for what happened before with A Head Full of Dreams, and like they finally like they took their time and made this wonderful 16-track double album. It didn't disappoint either. You know, it was just like Sunrise was a beautiful like violin dominant composition. Like Church kind of felt like a sister track to like the final track on the second like part of the album, Everyday Life. At least in terms of pacing, instrumentation, and even lyrically speaking.
Yeah.
Trouble in Town.
Oh.
I like this the minute I listened to it. You know, a very angry, kind of frustrated kind of track. You know,
Yeah.
it's especially when Johnny Bucklin comes in with like his angry, frustrated guitar riffs and stuff after the violin comes in.
Yeah, it
It's
harkens
great.
back to Violet Hill in a way.
Hold on, I gotta let my cat out.
All right. All right.
Sorry about that.
It's fine.
You were saying?
Like I was saying, like Trouble in Town kind of like reminds me of Violet Hill in a lot of ways.
Oh, definitely. That's a great comparison, actually. I like that.
Yeah, it's
It's like I don't remember. It's like what else is here? It's like was Broken the one with like the church choir?
yes, it's like a very like, gospel-esque song.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's
It's not my favorite in this side of the album, but it's pretty good.
Then after that is Daddy, which is a tearjerker.
Oh my god, the feels. This,
Yeah.
like when the music video came out. Oh my god, it kind of felt like a Ghost Stories kind of like callback.
Yeah,
a
it's
little
like-
bit.
It's one of those songs
Just
that's like I have to be in the right mood to listen to it, or I might just start crying.
No, it's like, you know, especially love the chorus, you know, so
Yeah.
far away. I probably butchered it, but it's like, I just love the piano. It's very sad sounding. Just like, it's a great song. Easily like one of my favorites in this entire album.
Yeah, Coldplay writes a lot of sad songs in major, which is I'm not the biggest music theory expert, so I don't know like how hard it is to write a sad song in major.
Yeah.
But apparently, like most songs would probably go for minor for a sad song, but most of the stuff like is in major.
Yeah.
Um,
WOTWPOTP is like, I've got nothing to say
Yeah,
about this. It's probably really filler as hell, to
they
be
didn't finish the
honest.
lyrics.
Mm. What do you think of it?
Um, it's. I think I'd probably appreciate it more if they actually finished the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. When I Need a Friend, what do you think of that one?
That's I really like that one. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
it's not my
very,
favorite on this half of the album. It's like,
it's very,
oh, arabesque. I,
yeah,
I I really like that. It has a
yeah.
very jazzy sound
It's
to it.
very
You know,
experimental.
it was one of, like the first two singles they released, and it's just
Yeah, it's also
I
like
like it. I liked it quite a bit, but it's like it was unfortunately overshadowed by Orphans on the
yeah,
second half of the album. But
like
it's like this is probably my favorite. Like the first, like the Sunrise half of Everyday Life is probably my favorite of like the double album. Not that the Sunset half wasn't like not like bad or anything like that. Where do you stand on Arabesque
yeah,
before we move on to Sunset?
definitely like it's it's definitely one of my favorites from the album as a whole. Like it is a huge like they are trying new things and it worked out very well. And I remember when I first heard it and I heard like Chris drop the F bomb at the end. I was like, take it back. It's like, did they really do that? It was like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's one of my
Oh
new
yeah, I
favorite
forgot.
lyrics
This
now.
album is tech isn't it technically explicit?
Yeah, it's like I think it's the first album with explicit lyrics on it.
Oh my god. See, this album has balls.
Yeah,
It's like I really respect the direction it went for, you know.
yeah. And after that, after Sunrise, we have Sunset, which opens up with guns.
Yeah.
Another
It's
explicit
like
song.
where do you stand on that?
I like it. I won't say it's one of my favorites.
Hmm.
Then you have Orphans, which is lots of fun.
Yeah, definitely. A very fun track. Even though
Yeah,
the lyrics are like depressing as hell. Talk about like a movie star who was like bombed to death pretty
yeah.
much. And it's just like it tries to go for like a contrasting kind of sound where like it seems celebratory but it's really
Yeah,
not. You look deep into the lyrics and it's like the singer's in denial of what's
yeah.
happened pretty much.
It's like
You
Life in
know,
Technicolor
hoping
too.
to
Like when you look at the
hoping to
lyric,
reunited in the afterlife, pretty
yeah.
much.
It's like Life in Technicolor 2 kind of sounds happy, but when you look at the lyrics, it's actually kind of dark and depressing. Yeah.
Definitely.
North
Where do you sound? How do you pronounce that? Echo?
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 I don't know.
I I don't know. It's like there's a lot. There's like two accents on the E and the O. It's just like fuck.
Yeah,
I don't know how to pronounce it.
we are uncultured.
I'm sorry. I'm a stupid American. I don't know how to pronounce this.
um, Echo, I really like. I come back to this one a lot. It's lots of fun.
Like I can't remember much. I'm gonna have to like play it later on. It's just like it's all I know is like "Cry, Cry, Cry" is easily my least favorite of this album. It's just
Yeah,
like the really high pitched squeaky voice, and it just ruins it for me.
yeah, a lot.
Where do you stand on it?
I think "Cry, Cry, Cry" is like the most heavily criticized on the album. Most people say it's their least favorite.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
did not know that.
like a lot of
And
people
I'm a part of
compare.
like the Facebook group that like of Coldplay fans, so it's like it's weird.
Yeah, a lot. I've seen a lot of Coldplay fans on Reddit compare it to X Marks the Spot.
Oh, really?
I
That
don't.
bad?
I don't
I
think
wouldn't.
it's that bad, but I'm not too crazy about it either.
Yeah. Now, where do you stand on like Old Friends and the sixth track that's written in Arabic that I cannot read and I don't want to like mispronounce any of the words?
Yeah. Old Friends, I also really like. Same as Echo or Eco.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably say like it's those two are probably the most underrated from this album. As for the one
Yeah.
in Arabesque, I can't remember it.
Now, track 7 and 8, Champion of the World. It's like I like this one quite a bit. You
Yeah,
know, it's just like repeat like the repeat guitar riff is just like it's like moderately paced, but you know it
yeah,
works, and the lyrics are kind of depressing but a little uplifting towards the end.
yeah.
Where do you stand on it?
Champion of the World as well as Everyday Life are a good way to close off this album. Like
Champion of the world, more like Will Champion of the World. Because
uh,
the drummer's so good in this.
yeah, I do.
I'm gonna get stabbed.
I enjoy Champion of the World. I don't like the guitar riff personally.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like it's too simple. Not that there's anything wrong with simple guitar riffs, but it's just like the way that's done here feels like a little eh.
Definitely not Buckland's best work, but it works, I guess.
Yeah.
And Everyday Life.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it's probably my favorite track on the entire album.
Yeah,
But like the double album, it's just like kind of calls back to Church a little bit, except
Yeah.
a little slower paced. Even has like the violins you would see in Sunrise, what you would hear in Sunrise.
Yeah.
It's just like they're like everything just comes together on this one track to the point where I dare say it's easily in my top 5 songs from their entire discography.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, it gets stuck in my head. I love the lyrics, everyone hurts, everyone cries.
Yeah.
It works great.
Yeah, like
Everything just comes together.
it's a very good closer to the album. I don't think it's as good as like Death and All His Friends or Up and Up, but still does its job pretty well.
Oh, I dare say it's even better than them. Oh man, I'm gonna get stabbed by a Coldplay fan later on. How could you say this?
It also has like the lyrics "Gotta keep dancing when the lights go out," and I love that lyric.
Oh my god, that lyric, it really helped me out, especially when I lost a friend at work. It was just, like happened months ago. It's like kind of like it kind of feels a little nihilistic. About how we just keep dancing and just through life until we're pretty much dead.
Yeah,
till the end, just keeping up the dance, pretty much.
I kind of interpret it as like an optimistic thing, like you got to keep going even when things seem rough.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting interpretation. I like that better than the nihilistic one.
Yeah, think about me as like I have a lot of anxiety, and usually when that kicks in, like I just tell myself, "Got to keep dancing when the lights go out."
Yeah,
it's very cathartic. It helps.
My God, it's like BoJack Horseman. Just keep on dancing.
Yeah, I remember at school there's a teacher. I think like she got a divorce and her dog died. And we wrote cards, and I put the lyric, like, "Gotta keep dancing when the lights go out," on the card that I wrote for her.
Yeah. I like how it ends optimistically, with Hallelujah, just like kind of in a prayer, pretty much.
Yeah, I think Everyday Life seems to be like, the album as a whole seems to be a commentary on everything that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think like, I don't want to get too political, but I think like, the lyric is like, "How am I going to see you as my brother, not my enemy?" I think that's like how like everyone is so divided.
Mm-hmm.
I think like that's meant to say is like we shouldn't be making enemies out of each other. We should be making allies.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
it's kind of there's like a lot of like religious references more like pseudo-religious references. It does make reference to one or more religions pretty much. This album kind of like it kind of subtly hints at like the Middle Eastern conflicts and stuff. It's like everyday life for them, with all the horrors and whatnot.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it's probably what we need right now.
Definitely, it's like it feels like the album feels like it's just calling for the world to come together, just like pretty much.
Yeah, it's kind of comforting in a way.
Yep.
So,
I guess like even though I don't like Head Full of Dreams that much, beginning with that album, it just feels like the band has been trying to been more socially conscious about their material, pretty much.
Yeah.
Try to spread optimism even like in areas that don't have much.
Yeah. Overall, I would rank this album. I think I put it as my 4th favorite.
That's exactly where it is. I don't like, because of like the few tracks like Cry, 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 and there's just a few filler ones on there. It's like I feel like I like other albums more, like Milo Xyloto, X and Y, and Viva La Vida, pretty much. Mm-hmm. But it was a welcome return to form. I was really pleased with it when it came out, and it got mostly positive reception, as opposed to like the last 3 albums that have mixed reception among critics.
Yeah. Like, I think like this is the best thing they put out since Milo Xyloto. Yeah.
I'd say so too.
I would rank this below Milo Xyloto, but above X and Y personally.
Yeah.
My favorite song from the whole thing would probably have to be Daddy. Like, it is a sad song, but it's like I think that's why I like it so much, is because of how emotional it is.
Yeah, that's like my probably my second or third favorite from that album. Like Everyday Life's definitely my all-time favorite. Champion of the World is up there. It's like I also like Arabesque quite a bit.
My least favorite probably have to be the one written in Arabic because I can't remember it.
Okay. Cry 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 is easily my least favorite for that high-pitched voice and the kind of forgettable instrumentation as well as like the lyrics, to be honest.
Yeah, like the lyrics, I get what they're going for, but it is a bit on the nose.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, with all those albums discussed, pretty much,
Yeah.
this it really comes to no surprise. Like, Coldplay is easily one of my favorite bands of all
Yeah.
time. And I look forward to what they're doing in the future. Right when Ghost Stories and especially Head Full of Dreams made me think they were declining in quality, it came back with a bang. Like a double album that just really was satisfying to listen to. So that has made me regain my faith in the band, and I look forward to what they do in the future, pretty much.
yeah, same here. Do you think they should be do more explicit content on their albums?
I think so, because they can handle heavier subject matter, and didn't really offend anyone. I don't understand why swearing is frowned upon in our society. I mean, it's not nice language, but still, sometimes you have to use swearing and whatnot to convey the conflict of everyday life. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Anyways,
Personally,
it works, especially in the context of this album.
Personally, I would disagree. I would say that they should probably keep the next few albums clean, and then after a while, then release another explicit one. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like cursing has more power if you save it up. Like
Definitely,
if you do it all the time, it isn't
much.
special. Like the reason why the explicit content on Everyday Life is special is because it's the first time they've ever done it.
Yeah, that is true.
So I think for the next 2 or 3 albums, keep it clean for a bit, and then after that, release another explicit one.
I wonder when they're going to release a new album. It's this came at what was Head Full of Dreams was 2015. So
Yes.
this 4 years they spent making Everyday Life, but I think their effort really paid off because Head Full of Dreams, it's that came out not even a year after Ghost Stories. So.
Yeah. I kind of have a theory that they're forced to make Head Full of Dreams. Because Ghost Stories.
Was there any articles on that to confirm that?
Well, no, it's just a conspiracy theory that I have because Ghost Stories is a lot sadder, and there might be a few corporate suits to say, "Oh, you can't sell that sad," and then they they were told they had to release a happy one. I have no proof, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. So, if we're done talking about Coldplay, we could transition over to... Oh, no! Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Minute.
I apologize, I closed the wrong tab by mistake.
That's alright.
But as I was saying, if we're done talking about Coldplay, we could transition over to The Killers.
You mind if we do this another time? Something just came up. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, sure, it's fine.
I think we have enough material for one podcast anyways, but until next podcast where we talk about The Killers, thank you all so much for watching. Do you have any concluding statements you want to make, EB?
I would like to say that this was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed doing this.
Yep.
And we definitely did have a good discussion.
It's nice to also discuss this with a fellow Coldplay fan,
Yeah.
I don't want to say we're oppressed or anything like that,
Yeah.
but you know, some groups, especially in like high school, if you mention you're a Coldplay fan, you will get laughed out of
Yeah.
town, saying, you know, yeah, look, you don't have good taste. They make depressing stuff, and depressing stuff is emo. Ha ha ha. You know, or maybe they'll turn their nose, and be like, ugh, Coldplay is so overrated. I don't know why they're so successful.
Yeah. This was a fun experience. There's a few hiccups, but you know, this is the first time I've tried this, so it's not going to be perfect,
Yeah.
but I'll learn.
I think by the time we talked about Rush of Blood to the Head, we chemistry improved definitely. So
Yeah.
the next podcast should be easier and smooth sailing.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for having me. You can find my channel in the link below. I don't really do much. I don't really cover music hardly at all, but it was fun doing this regardless.
Yeah, so, yeah, check us both out if you're interested. And if not, do whatever, I don't care. But that's all from us for today, so come by next time. Can't wait to see you there. Until then, EB out.